of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you want to truly succeed in attaining all in that which is your need? To be heard by the real answerer of all deeds, the true hero of all whom pleads. Who of you really want to bow down to the true King of Kings commanding the crown? To worship the one that ever rules alone, commanding everything of creation.
They should call and get an hour show.
Yes. Yeah, that's our half-hour audience. But again, I use this peace and other blessing be within and about your presence, Lord Holy-Apostle Deen.
Yes, man, I use this peace and blessing be within and about your presence.
You were talking about the accountability, how people who are in different states of mind, from disbelief to thinking that they believe, not being sure they believe, and confusion, and how in each those cases, I believe we can venture to say that they don't make themselves accountable to the reality of themselves, the real self that.
Well, how can you do it? How can
you
do it if you're confused about it? You feel me? There are certain things that we need to do. We need to understand the power of the word of truth. And we need to understand that the only one to be praised is the owner of the power of the word, El. And we need to understand that El knows us. It's our creator. It knows us better than anything, anyone, even knows us better than our own personal beings, our personal selves, the mind that it created, it loaned to us to live in. So if we want to know about ourselves, who should we check with? It. If we want to get to the summit of our lives, to the light of truth, who should we ask to take us there? It. But see, men get themselves in a position where they want to take themselves there. They want to make a sharp turn here and hang out before they go. A sharp turn there. You know, it's always something else. That's what the Lord, when it created us and it put us down on earth in the bodies of the animals, the flesh body, and it said, beware, there's a snake in the garden. The garden being earth, Eden, the Garden of Eden. Be mindful and stay away from its tree, the tree that's in the center of the garden. And beware of that sneaking snake, that serpent. Now, men take that word and they turned it around to mean an actual snake, and the tree of knowledge to be actual information. The Lord was talking about the symbolism, and through symbolic terminology and protecting its word, it was talking about the angels that was in the garden. Now, the angels bow down lower than any creature in humility and humbleness. But we had angels that had been fallen, had been felled, broke down by the Lord, punished and chastised, and put down in a position on earth that they hated, beneath the level of the truly enlightened individuals whom they hated. See, they hate them. The devil hates man, but it don't so much just hate man, but it has such hatred for the messengers, the prophets, those who are enlightened, those who are the favorite by the Lord. You understand? Hates them more than any man because they know that they're near to the Lord. Now, the symbol of the serpent was the angels because of how low they bowed. So Allah, when it spoke, the Lord Allaah, when it spoke, it was speaking about the serpent, the fallen angel, who stayed on his belly in a negative way, was bowed lowest and humiliated and brought down the lowest. That was the serpent that it was talking about. You understand? In that knowledge that they was telling the people to stay away from wasn't information. It was experience. away from the experience that it offers you. And the tree is at the center of Eden. And what is the center of Eden? Anybody know? Everybody been trying to find the center. They say the middle of Garden of Eden was in some place in Africa. They had named some places, you know, what have you. It had to be here. No, it had to be there and there. The center of Eden is in every human being. We are all sinners. We all have sinners. When you go out and people are spiritually attracted to you, you become recognized as a sinner for those people. When you go home to your children and they run to you and they feel you, you become their sinner. You are a sinner. And what's in your sinner? The home of your passion, your desire, your lust, your anger. All that is centered in you. And it says stay away from the experiences that will cause that to rise. You know? And then it gave us a symbolism of an apple. Because an apple is the best thing for you. One of the best things for you. That's why he said apple a day keeps the doctor away. But the Lord knew that through the apple, which is many times very sure, almost everybody like apples, the devil would try to attract you with something that's good for you. Something that's attractive, something that's delightful, something that's sweet. So Allah chose the apple. And you hear me saying Allah, and then you hear me say Allah. The people need to know that Allah, Al-Ah, is El-Ah. The breath that was breathed into all creation. The breath that's constantly being breathed throughout everything. Everything in creation breathes. That's El's breath. The Ah. El is the and Ah is breath. You understand? And the Arabs know that, and the Hebrews know that, but they act like it's totally different, misunderstood, unknown things. That's breaking off the religion, keeping it separate so the people had confusion. That's the devil. That's the devil. And people say, you can go to Christians and they hate the name of Allah. But they love the name El. And they always call an Ah and Amen. And Amen is the breath of the mind of creation. The eternal mind, the infinite living mind. That's Amen. That breathes life into all things. You feel me? So that's why you hear me repeating that when I say Allah and I say Allah. Because, Ahezaah has taught me that. It says, I am El, and I am I, and I am Hu. Hu being the essence. And it said that to the Arabs, to the Muslims, to the Jews. It said that through Muhammad. Muhammad went to the Jews, Muhammad went to the Arabs, and then Muhammad had a lot of people from all around the world that used to come to Mecca, and he spoke it to all them different people from different parts of Asia and Africa and Europe. They used to venture through there, buying goods and selling goods. And he said, Hu and Allah is one and the same. It's the independent, the eternal being. And they say, He is Allah, the one. When Muhammad said, Hu and Allah is one. Allah and Hu is one and the same. To tell them, y'all have disconnected the truth of what you call religion. And then they falsely translate what they see is not said. They falsely translate, and then they say that book is protected. The Lord is angry with them. It has thin anger with them. And you're going to see that as we go along. You see these riots breaking out all over the world today. You're going to see it more and more. Because the Lord is the Christ. The Lord has come down in this essence of Christ. People looking for Jesus to come back. No, man, Jesus couldn't help himself when he was here. Jesus is no greater than myself. I'm the messenger of the Lord, the prophet. I'm enlightened. I converse with the Lord. You know, I commune all continuously. And I have no power. I am subjected to power. I am subjected to the word, to its word. I am subjected to its essence, its force. I recognize the power that Jesus lived in. And Jesus will tell you the same thing I'm telling you. The same as Muhammad. All praise is due to Allaah because it is the reality. It's what's real. It's with me unseen, but it's with you unseen too. But it hasn't made itself manifest to you. Now, the Satanites know it. Those who worship Satan, those who are intellectuals, gatherers of information, they know the truth about that. And they are the greatest Christians and Muslims in the eyes of people. And Jews and Hindus and Buddhists. They're the greatest of them. They're so great because they are favored by the people for their twisting and turning and compromising so that the people feel comfortable being compromised with their own compromising. You know? Because the true man of the Lord is not compromising, and people hate that. They hate the truth. They hate when you come and don't compromise with them.
Well, there's so many questions, but there's a second question. When you're talking about mankind, womankind who have a perception of religion, how they perceive, the story that they perceive of Jesus being, having a power of his own and how attractive the personality has been made. The story of Muhammad being the last and rising up the people who got the last word, so they said that they got the most clear word. This sense that, okay, I'm amongst the best of the best, like you described. I'm amongst the most chosen. I'm among the most favored of the Lord. You know, these are very attractive perceptions.
Yeah, isn't it ironic how you can go to every country and all the people in all the various religions is all the chosen ones, all the righteous, and yet man is fighting like hell all over earth, fighting against one another. You know, you heard of imagination? That's what people do. They live in their imagination. You can only imagine. You got some people act as though they really knew Muhammad and Jesus. Now, I've been acquainted with them in the spirit realm, but now, for me to say that, half the world would say, if not most all, what is he talking about? Who he think he is? I'm one of the privileged. I'm one who has shown many things, so I can tell you many things. But I can't prove them things to you because, like I said, I'm not the power. I'm only the messenger. I'm subjected to it. Now, if it want to prove it to you, then that's what it does. All I could do is give a message and tell you about some of my experiences. If you don't want to believe it, then of course that's on you. That's, that's your right. But don't get angry with me because I'm not going to compromise. I'm not going to step back and say, okay, there's almost 7 billion people on the earth today and none of them believe me. Okay, let me just stop. If I could do that, trust me, I would have never started. Because when it was first introduced to me, I said, I don't want it. And it said, you must have it. But I didn't ask for this. Yes, you did. You didn't know what you was asking for. You was born for this. Said some is become enlightened and they go away. Some become enlightened and they stay. They come back. Those who come back to serve are the greater, raised to a high level. We go through hell in our trials, but we have the peace with us. Now, people say, oh, we sound like Jesus. And they say Jesus was always at peace. Jesus was never angry. Jesus is that. They are confused. Jesus was angry as hell when he fought those Jews in the marketplace, that the synagogue they had turned to a marketplace. They tell you quite clearly, Jesus cursed them. Curse means MF, B, damn.
In Aramaic.
In Aramaic. He cursed at them. He swore, used those profane words at them. But how was he at peace? The Lord El is the peace. And he was at peace. He was in peace. He was crystallized in peace. He was unified with the peace. He was communed with the peace. That's how he was at peace all the time. That didn't mean he didn't get angry. He didn't fight. You know what I mean? He wasn't no powder puff, turn the other cheek. If he was all about turning the other cheek, why was he in the marketplace kicking them people's goods over and turning over tables and going off as the stories report? A man who turned the other cheek and then always at peace and never angry, they couldn't do that. He was a well-balanced individual. Lived his life to the fullest and didn't compromise. That's how he ended up on that cross. He didn't compromise. He dealt with truth.
The people that imagine themselves of knowing Jesus and Muhammad and the Buddha, do they know? I mean, how lost are we in our imaginations?
No, you can't know that. You can't know that. One thing I found out, when I became enlightened, the Lord lifted me up and gave me a greater insight and outsight. And I looked at the people, it scared me. It shook me up. It shook me up. It was like being in an insane asylum, being shot up with dope or whatever they give the people. And you there with them for 3 weeks, 3 months or whatever before they lower your doses where you could walk around, and you notice that these people are insane. What's up with these people? And then find out that you were there all the time with them. When I became enlightened, I was like, everybody is like the living dead. They don't realize you're here. A great awakening for me. I was 25 going on 26 years old. I had been like that all my life. Even though it spoke to me at various times, it took me through spiritual experiences, life and death experiences, and other kinds of spiritual experiences, I still was like that. And it took me 13 months to be able to talk to the people in a way that they could accept me talking to them, because the things I was saying from what I was experiencing and seeing and recognizing about humanity and life itself, creation, they said, he's crazy. He's insane. But when I learned how to speak to them again, then they said, oh, he's all right. When I learned how to cover myself and not say everything that was on my mind, not say everything that I seen, not say everything that I knew. I used to have a problem because I would have people come around me and I'd tell them about themselves, and I'd tell them what they was thinking, and I'd tell them what they was planning, and then they was like, you got to stay away from him. What's up with him? He know too much. You know? It's certain talents that certain individuals receive, and if they expose themselves as a knower, then people run away from them. You know? But they can't know themselves like that. If they did, they wouldn't be like that. Once the light hits you, you awake. And once you become awake, you can't go back to sleep. Once you come unto the Christ and it take away from you all those things of your negativities and your lower thinking mind and bring you into the mind of the high and the righteous, you can't get those things back. You'd be a fool to want to go back to that. You know? I got children, my oldest children. Don't believe a word I say. Not a word. Then it got so bad that they don't even believe the 3 special words. I love you. Coming from me. And they say I should have unconditional love. And I said, you know what? I done heard this too many times. It sounds like a new fad of turn the other cheek. No matter what I do, you should forgive and forget. Wait a minute, I may forget, but I don't ever want to forget. Just because I don't forget, don't mean I'm going to antagonize you. But I never want to forget a wrong that you do to me, because if I forget your wrongs in my past, I'm subject to suffer those things again. Any fool would know that. No, any fool wouldn't know. Right. Here we go again. They sleeping. Yeah. Many fools don't know it.
Right. When you taught us something so profound, they reminded us, made us think, who would tell you to love your enemy but the devil?
But the devil.
Who would tell you to love your enemy?
Who would tell you to turn your back on your enemy but the devil? Who would tell you to forget all things and forgive, without even weighing what you're forgiving? You know, if you kill my mother, am I supposed to forget and forgive? I might pardon you, but if you did it in malice, who forgives that? The Lord itself forgives and forgives. It's the greatest forgiver, but it's the greatest punisher. They say, oh, the Lord is mercy. It is merciless. It has punished billions of people, wiped them right off the face of the planet Earth, took them in terror. Didn't let them know that what it was causing to rise up in nature to bring them down. And they say, oh, the Lord forgives. He didn't forgive them. Brought them back home quick, so I can take care of them. Do whatever it's going to do. So people get it all twisted. They use their own imagination and they make truth be what they want it to be. They make self-preservation, the preserving of the knowledge and the truth and the wisdom of the Lord, the reality, preserving that it's here, preserving that it is the manifest of everything. It is the one thing to be seen and known of all things. Like they say in Arabic, el-noon. It is one to be known in all things. That means it is to be preserved in all things. The knowledge of it, the praise of it, the recognition. To know that it is the thing that contains everything and keep everything together and cause everything to be. It is the great scientist. Beyond scientists. You know, it's just so much, brother. They don't realize. They don't realize, and if they did realize, they become a new man. Or an awakened man. You know?
Again, I'm struck by when we initially talked, you initially spoke to us, you was telling us about the people that don't believe, but pretend. They go on the world of pretending, meaning that they're conscious of what they're pretending about.
They're conscious that they're pretending to be like other people. They're not aware of what they're truly pretending many times. See, many people who act in this way, they're not really aware of the higher reality against what they're pretending. They only recognize what's in front of them. And they can't believe anything any further than that, so therefore they can pretend on that level. If they knew the Lord, if they knew the throne of the Lord was at all places at all times, that the Lord was all seeing, all hearing, all knowing, all present at all times, if they really was aware of that, if they really was in the knowledge, the experience of that, they would be like me. They couldn't ignore it. They couldn't ignore it, and they couldn't denounce it. I remember a sister told me, she was a warrior at this time, and I hope and pray that she turned around and become a warrior like she used to be. And don't forget the Lord L and her duty. But I remember she had a problem with me. We was at a meeting, at a gathering. This was in the 90s. And we was speaking, I was speaking to the audience. And she was angry with me, and she discounted the things that I said, the things I was speaking about, you know. And she left there disturbed and went home and went to make her prayers, you know. She said she got into the middle of her room, which was a very large room, and she started making her prayers, and a prayer, a picture, you know that they make a prayer in Arabic and then they translate it in English. Mm-hmm. She had it hanging on her wall. She said the picture landed, came off the wall and landed at her feet, at her head. She said it didn't fall and bounce. The picture flew off the wall and landed right in front of her face. And she looked at it, and it was about what I was talking about. She said, and it freaked her out. And she's like, no one is in here. How did that happen? And she come running to me and was telling me about it. And she apologized to me for being angry or disturbed. And I didn't even know this was happening with her. But it's things like this here that are signs, individual signs, personal signs that the Lord give to people. Mm-hmm. And I told her that's relative to a poltergeist being, you know. But the Lord has the power to do all that. The Lord is the one, L. That's the one that caused poltergeists to be, ghosts to be, spirits to be, the living dead to be, and so forth and so on. Situations like that, to me, would be enough for me to make me never turn back. To make me always strive hard, move forward, and ask to be pardoned and forgiven, you know, for my stubbornness and things of that nature, you know, because I would never want to be lost again. But they're giving us the sign.
And tell the people to look for those signs from that merciful Lord.
Oh yeah, there's so many out here.
Of you who want to do things right, to keep up with keeping your lives tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you